Good evening, I'm Zaraganat. Welcome to the studio. Sorry, I was just putting a battery in this micrometer, which is telling me its battery's flat, so I'm going to have to get another one. I don't leave it in because it goes flat. And so what I'm going to do, I absolutely do not know if this will actually measure anything. That's in inches. 0.6 millimeters. Okay. .5 millimeters. I didn't get round to between the streams actually measuring these, so I'm going to do it now. Not very successfully now, but I'm going to do it now. 30, so it wants to be 3 more millimeters. That's probably about half, 1.5, 2. Close. 2.5, 3, 3.5. That one looks a bit. Yeah, it is. It was unscrewing from one end, not equally. So I will do that. Hold it. Another half turn. It's the weekend. I must charge some batteries. Then I'm going to fly tomorrow. 32.8. Okay, looks like it wants another turn. If the weather's going to be good, it's a bank holiday here in the UK. 33 all day. So I am going to fly a helicopter or 3 or 4. I think that's 90. He wants to be 91. Okay. One, 2, 1, 2. 91.5. Screw that in there. $91 1/4. Thought that would happen. And screw that in half a turn. You know, the fact that I'm using a micrometer, you don't have to. A ruler works just as well. It's just easier, as I happen to have a micrometer to hand. 91, that'll do. To use it, I wouldn't get one just for this job. It would be. It's complete overkill. And, you know, more expensive. You know, it's okay. You can get reasonably priced micrometers, but and this is a relatively reasonable priced one. Not exactly cheap, not exactly expensive, he says, because I can't actually remember what it was, but it's several years ago now. But it certainly isn't worth getting one just to do what I've just done. Use a ruler. That's it. It's only because I happen to have one, and it happened to be out that I'm actually using it. So those 3 things there are now the right size. I've got the 2 phosphor bronze bushes there that I'm not going to be using. I can go over there. That was part 6 complete. We'd now be on part 7, which is bolting this stuff to the chassis. I've got hair in my tea. That's nice. Right, so BA5 are 12mm round-headed bolts. So they're in pack BA, which is this pack. And my betting is that BA5 are Oh, there's 3 sizes. So 12mm. Here the middle size. Okay. Are they the middle size? Could be. Again, I've mentioned it, but the pictures are more or less to scale, or certainly as close as needed. Those are 2 BA5. I want out, how many of them? 4 for this, and then I'll be looking at BA4, which are the small ones, which are also on here. So I can open that a bit more. We're starting to use these screws now. They're the long ones. 3. That's a short one. And these pliers are magnetic. 2. That's 4. 2, 4. 3. The short one around. 4. There we go. Now I know I'm going to be using those in a couple of steps, but for the moment, again, keeping things tidy. If you've got large trays, something like that, by all means tip them in. So 4 lots of screws. I'm going to want this particular servo here. I will also want this push rod there. They're called push rods. Some people call them pull rods, but it's very rare. It always seems to be called push rods. And yet they push and pull. So don't know exactly why they always get called push rods. Certainly in the aviation, model aviation area. And I want this as well. And I'll want the chassis. What's this thing? So this is going to get mounted on here. Screw threads there, so I can see it goes in that way. And this is how the movement with the servo on the side here, that moves forward and back. This moves across to drive the steering. So these are the long ones, yeah, BF5. I can't actually get hold of these things. There we go. That's it. That does not want to go like that. Actually, I will need to put some thread lock on this. So I'm just going to drop these in, make sure they go in okay, because one of these looks like it's, or feels like it's not going to want to go in properly. This one's the same. Where's that? That one's okay, it's gone in. Maybe it's just a little tight spot on one of the threads. No. No, that's not wanting to go in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these off. Right, what I'm going to do is just, that thread doesn't actually look all that good. I'm going I'm just going to do is just screw this in on its own without anything there that could be forcing it off angle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is screw that in, so it will effectively be cutting a thread now. It didn't look very clean, but it has. I have just cut a thread through that. It might be a little weak now, but with three other bolts that are able to hold it in place, that won't be an issue. So I'll get the thread lock out. Now then, when you put the thread lock on, one of the things you might be worried about is just where do you put it? Because if this goes through, the metal goes all the way through and comes out the other side, which it does. Well, if you put the thread lock too far down near the end of the bolt, then the thread lock just going to come straight out the other side and not do its job. And if you thought that, that's a reasonable thing to ask. But if you think about it, this is a bit like something, it's a sticky liquid, okay? So it's kind of stuck into the threads a little bit. And the threads are meant to be a reasonably close fit. I mean, after all, that's their job. And so what happens when you, if you put it near the end, when you actually screw this in, what it will do is it will smear it around the nut, around the bolt and around the thing you're screwing into. It'll smear it around the threads. And therefore it will actually spread it out. I mean, the amount I'm putting on, which is a little tiny blob, and even less than that, there actually goes an awfully long way. It goes a lot further than you think. There it is. I was looking for the top because I really didn't want to have this stuff leaking out, which is what it's just done. And it will go all the way around the bolt, and it will actually sort of still seal the threads. So you basically, as long as you don't put it so far up the bolt that it never comes into contact with the threads, then it does serves no purpose. But if you put it near the end, where it has to sort of meet the screw thread, then you can be reasonably certain that it will do its job. Okay, now then, I shall be back in a second. What he's doing is I'm going to get a tool out, which I think is in the drawer here. It may not be. No, it isn't. Okay. What I was going to show you is you can buy tools for putting these things onto these balls and for taking them off. They're called ball pliers. I use them on the helicopters specifically. And one of the reasons, two reasons why you use one. Okay, one is when you're trying to apply quite a bit of force to something like a small linkage which is on a helicopter, and you yank it and things go all over the place, you can actually break things, bend push rods, these sorts of things. But the other one is unless you apply even pressure putting this on and taking it off. Now putting it on is easier than applying pressure to take it off. what you end up doing is distorting the balls, or distorting the place, the thing it goes into, this thing, the socket. And then that starts to bind, or it might pop off. Now on a helicopter, that's really important, that you don't want either of those to happen, because that reduces your control or makes it completely controlless. Oh look, Hall, good evening, welcome to the studio this evening. So the pliers apply an even pressure, and especially when you're taking it off, they're kind of like a fork with a pin in the middle, and it lifts this off the ball in a very easy controlled manner. So for this, maybe not a problem, but if you're doing lots of them, it's a worthwhile investment, because for a start it's a lot easier than trying to get your fingers in, and it hurts your fingers and all sorts of stuff. Pair of pliers is nice and easy, but for the minute this should just snap on. It should just snap on there, but as you can see, well, you can't see, but I can, I'm using quite a bit of force and I'm not going very far, to the point that I am suddenly thinking about something. And the something I was suddenly thinking about was, okay, have I got the right end? Now this is a pain. Ooh, you can see why I might want pliers. In fact, I may have to find them, because at this rate I can't actually get these on. I can't. No, I cannot get that on. So you'll have to just excuse me. I'm going to just look for my pliers. I have another alternative for putting them on. Oh, there they are.